Okay, I'm starting now. It's funny how things happen, winding and twisting in a never-ending chain of events. Mr. Dawson, for example, woke up this morning at 6:15 sharp, as always. He stumbled into the kitchen to start a pot of coffee, then back to his room to get dressed. Approximately 35 minutes later, he was seated at the cozy table for one, reading the Tuesday paper when a certain article caught his attention. Being drawn in by the words, he lost track of time and spent nearly 15 minutes drowned within the story, knocking him vastly off schedule. Realizing this with a gasp, he threw down the paper and snatched the now cold cup of coffee from the counter before ambling out of the house and towards the car. Once settled in, Dawson discovered he was without keys, and muttered a string of profanity upon looking at the clock. Knowing this was something he could not do without, he trudged out of the car, slamming the door behind, and went in to fetch his keys. The time was nearly 7:30 when he finally started the car, punched it into gear. Blinded by irritation of the morning's events, Mr. Dawson didn't bother to slow down as he usually did when crossing the pathway that led into Hawk Haven stables, but instead accelerated into the marked horse crossing zone, thinking he could make up for lost time. At the same moment, Salem and her horse Abacus were trotting up the drive, heading out on an early morning conditioning ride. Time was of the essence for the pair, too, having the most important event of their young lives just a matter of days away. Abacus tossed his head, ears pricked excitedly as the two neared the gateway that led to the open road, and feeling just as jittery as her mount, Salem loosened the reins and allowed him to break into a free canter. Salem closed her eyes in total bliss as her horse's stride flowed perfectly beneath her, and, in this time of silent perfection, didn't see nor hear the nearing crawl of Mr. Dawson's accelerating engine. Perhaps if Mr. Dawson had not been entranced by the morning's paper, he might have been going slow enough to stop as Salem's horse glided in front of the speeding car. Or maybe, if Salem had simply been late instead of Dawson, the whole scene could have been avoided. But it wasn't. Salem and Abacus crossed in the intersection, and Mr. Dawson couldn't stop.